So the MMA world is currently bombarded with this Bryce Mitchell situation revolving his first episode of a podcast that he started on his YouTube channel where he talked about 1930s Germany and the leader at that time. And it's a lot of wild things that he says. So we're gonna look at the clip, we're gonna look at Dana White's response, and I'm gonna give you my opinion on what probably will happen to Bryce Mitchell from this. So if that interests you, stay tuned. Without further ado, let's watch this video. I highly recommend you go watch the full podcast. I will leave a link in the description down below. Again, make your own opinion. Don't just go off of mine. But let's go into it.
Sentence together.
Well, he's not a, he's not a dumbass. Like he's
no, I don't think he's dumb, but in that particular
I've got
sentence,
internet now
yeah,
because of him.
Yeah.
Like Starlink is the only thing that's actually like been, because we don't have like wired internet to my land. I mean, he's obviously a very
and Starlink
smart guy.
ain't a satellite, by the way, guys. Starlink is
air balloons.
It's on balloons, and it's some type of reflection system or transmission system. I don't know. I'm not
whatever
smart enough
it is,
to know what it is. But
whatever it is, I've got the internet.
Elon ain't smart enough either, bro. All his rockets are CGI, and that Starlink, it ain't satellites. It's on balloons, and they're sending you radio signals or whatever on balloons. And Elon's definitely not a dumbass. That's not what I'm saying. But
what about him hailing Hitler? So,
okay, first of all, what he says there, I'm kind of with him on the Neuralink. Personally, I'm not for him. I'd much rather keep my brain as it is. And like we have phones in our pockets. We can look up anything in a matter of seconds. I don't need a chip in my head. That's my opinion on it. But that's not what we're talking about. Now we're getting into the spicy stuff here.
Like, I'm always like the simplest explanations, the one that's the most plausible, and like maybe like he was on his heart and it was like, and he went out to wave to the crowd. But when I watch it, I'm like, there's two, for me, there's two possibilities. One is that he really is a Nazi, which I don't think. I don't think he is, and I could be wrong. Right? Like, right. I'm not saying.
Oh, I have some interesting thoughts on this. Please keep going.
The other is, I think if you follow his social media now, he's gotten very Trumpish with his posts. Like, he really likes to troll people. He really likes to troll people.
Yeah, I want to jump into, while he's talking about Elon Musk being a troll, I just want to give my opinion on the whole solo thing. Personally, I think it's a bunch of garbage. I think it's being blown out of proportion by the media. You know, he didn't do it completely straight. I don't think it was hidden alt-right messaging, but I do think it is a bad look, obviously. And I don't think that Elon Musk supports 1930s Germany. But we're gonna hear what Bryce Mitchell has to say about it, and it's buckle up.
People. Mm-hmm. And because people have been calling Trump Hitler, which I think is egregious, I really think it's a giant troll, and that's my guess. But I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying we can't take pictures of other people waving and then put a picture of him doing it, and then take that cop out that he's posting as like, oh, it's just the media twisting the words. It's like, no, you did it twice. So anyways, I wanted to talk about that because it just happened, and it happened at the inauguration, and it slipped through. And I want to hear your thoughts on it. And I showed it to you just not too long ago.
Yeah, and first off, I don't think he's a dumbass. I think he's very smart and he's very evil. So when I'm making fun of him not putting a sentence together, the reason he couldn't put up a sentence is not because he's stupid. It's because he's such a liar, and it's hard for liars to talk. I don't care how smart you are. When you're a lying bastard and you get up there to talk, you have to be damn near a psychopath to do it proficiently. Okay, so he's got all this evil in his heart. That's why he can't put together a sentence about America being great and how much he loves this country. I could talk all day about how I love America, how I die on Normandy for this country, how I just love everything about this country. But anyways, and he has given good speeches before, so it's not like he can't put a sentence together. I just saw one speech where he was stumbling and mumbling, and me being a hater,
yeah. He could have not slept all night,
now, yeah,
like there's no telling.
exactly. And so here's what I say about him, hailing Hitler, hailing the Nazis. I really don't think that he was, because I honestly think that Hitler was a good.
See, if you just left it at that, this clip would be fine. But he continues to go on, and like from this point on, I was shocked because like I read a few articles about it. I was like, oh yeah, I bet they took me out of context. Just wait.
Guy based upon my own research, not my public education indoctrination. I really do think before Hitler got on meth, he was a guy to go fishing with. He fought for his country. He wanted to purify it by kicking the greedy Jews out that were destroying his country and turning them all into gays. They were gaying out the kids. They were queering out the women. They were queering out the dudes. They were, you know what her first tranny surgery ever was? Happened to be in Germany before Hitler took over. You know the books that everybody makes fun of Hitler burning? You know what the books was? Queer books. Hitler burned queer books because Hitler didn't want a bunch of queers destroying his nation. They can't produce children.
But what about
when he got on meth and he turned on Russia? I believe that's when he kind of went full nutty. And I don't think that he was just like the best dude ever. And when I say I go fishing with him, I'm not saying he was the most trustworthy dude or I'd love him or whatever. But at some point in Hitler's life, I don't think he was that bad of a guy. I really don't. And now, was Hitler perfect? No. But he was fighting for his people. Okay. And he wanted a pure nation with people. You know what the Jews was doing? They was charging interest. Christians aren't allowed to do that.
Like there's plenty of Christians charging interest everywhere.
Okay, that topic right there. I want as much of this to play out as I can without bumping into it so you get the full context. But this thing about interest, and I'm a big history guy. What the Germans did after World War One was stupid, right? Their entire economy went tits up. It was millions of dollars for a loaf of bread. You couldn't buy really anything, and people were burning money for for a use of it, and that's crazy. That's crazy. Now, okay, let's watch the clip before I say what I want to say. I want to get this fully watched before I comment on it because you really got to tread carefully with this topic.
I don't. Right, if you need to borrow $1,000, Rolly, I give you $1,000, and you wouldn't give me 1,100 back. You'd give me 1,000 back.
Sure, between
these Jews were controlling his country, bro. They were so cold and starving. They were using their valueless money as insulation. They were stuffing dollars in their jacket to stay warm. They were burning dollars in their wood stove. Hitler comes up and says, "Hey, I'm kicking the Jews out of here because they're killing us with interest." And then now that he lost the war, he's the bad guy. Now, he ain't perfect. I'm not a Nazi. I don't love Nazis. I don't want Nazis to win the war. I'm just saying they were in a bad spot and Hitler come to power. But
it's
Elon is
bad to take out a whole, like, to put a whole race into camps.
Right.
Okay, that's the biggest thing, right? Where, I don't think, and this is my opinion, I don't think any country was right in World War One or World War Two. You can, like he's saying, when you do your own research, you learn a lot about what Canada really did, what America really did, what Germany did, what Russia did. And there's a lot of stuff that was left out. Some stuff that made the Allies look bad, some stuff that made the Axis look good. The bottom line is that I'm too scared to say his name. That leader, right, targeted a demographic, targeted a religion, not just the people in the banks, but people who practice that religion at all, or who even were suspected of practicing that religion. When you get rid of that many people in that amount of time, and that, I think, to me, that's one of the reasons that Germany is the most looked at, because, Russia, Japan, China, they had bigger death totals than Germany. But Germany did this over the span of a few years. The camps were done over a few years, and 6 million is the number that people, reference that. 6 million in a few years. And that's not factoring in soldiers, that's not factoring in other citizens of other countries. That, like, there's no way you can say this in the media in 2024 and not get backlash. And I don't think Bryce Mitchell is doing himself any service by quickly speaking about this. As you can see, there's 10 minutes left in the podcast. We're not going to watch it all. But to end off on this, dude, and to bring up this fact, when you're a part of one of the biggest organizations in the world, period, it's not going to go well. And I want to watch a bit more of this, and then we'll move over to Dana White's reaction. But, dude, you can't be saying this stuff on your very first episode, man.
And that's what your public education will tell you, Rolly, because you believe your public education, because you haven't done your own research. When you realize there's no possible way they could have burned and cremated 6 million bodies, you're going to realize that they did not. The Holocaust ain't real. What about the Bolsheviks when the Jews killed tens of millions of Christians? Oh, we don't want to talk about that.
Well, I don't know much or anything.
Well, let me tell you about the Bolsheviks. It's when these Jews come over and killed the shit out of all these Christians. And they don't teach that in your public indoctrination centers. Guess what? That's why Tucker's getting schooled on this farm, baby, because I'm going to tell Tucker the truth. And the truth is that history is his.
I wonder if we'll get that Tucker interview after this. Part of me was like, absolutely, they'll do the interview with this kind of controversy and maybe get, like, an apology or like an updated version of this. Dude, I don't think Tucker's touching this with a 10-foot pole. Dude, there's no way he can touch this. Like, there's no way.
Story, okay? And history's written by the victor. Okay, Hitler lost, so you didn't get to hear his side of the war. You didn't get to hear how the Jews took his country over. You didn't get to hear what they were doing. And do I believe that he tortured Jews to death and killed them and all this stuff for fun? No, I believe that they were work camps and that they starved to death because his very army was starving to death. You know why they lost the war? They ran out of fuel. They didn't have food. They didn't have fuel. They had 10 million plus prisoners. How are you going to feed them? You're not. You're losing a war. They're going to die. And that's what happened. And I don't believe that he's that bad of a guy. But I'm saying all this about Hitler to say that, if anything, Elon Musk would be against Hitler, because Hitler, he was for freedom. Elon Musk is for control. Elon Musk wants to put a chip up your ass and know every thought and control.
Hitler wasn't for freedom. Okay, well, early on in his run as president, before World War II happened, he did make a lot of advances in his country that did benefit his population, the Autobahn, being, his contribution to Volkswagen, not BMW. Like, he was the main driver between for one of the biggest car companies still to this day. He did a lot of things that benefited the German people. But when it came down to wartime, when it came down to the media, and specifically how he took over the media in a violent way, that's something you can't look past, right? Now, I'm gonna leave this linked in the description down below. We're, running kind of long on this, but couple things I want to say here. One, this right here, this guarantees that if he probably will get a fight, he will get a really tough opponent, because this isn't Dana White's decision anymore. Dana White isn't the owner. Lorenzo isn't an owner. I'm blanking on the other name. I apologize. This comes up to Ari, and Endeavor, TKO. This is bigger than just the UFC now, especially right when they're trying to get a brand new TV deal. Not a good look, man. Really not a good look. But I really want to move over to Dana White's response to this before I kind of close this out and say my final opinion on this and what I think will and should in a way happen. So let me make sure. There we go. Dana White lashes out at dumbest human being, Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell has, we already seen this. Isn't the video here? Okay. Well, let's watch the video.
What's up, guys? All right. So we had 2 transports tonight, Vernon and Rhodes, for head and neck. I don't have anything back on either one of them yet. He's responsible for the death of 6. And I'm sure you guys heard what Bryce Mitchell said. If you haven't, he said some probably, I've heard a lot of dumb, ignorant shit in my day, but this one's probably the worst. When you talk about Hitler, he's responsible for the death of 6 million Jews, and he tried to completely eliminate a race of people. World War II was the deadliest war in history. 15 million military deaths, 45 million civilians, and 25 million soldiers were killed in World War II. Second of all, Hitler is one of the most disgusting and evil human beings to ever walk the face of the earth, and anyone that even tries to take an opposing position is a moron. That's the problem with the internet and social media. You provide a platform for a lot of dumb, ignorant people. We've obviously reached out to Bryce, and when we read what he said, and let them know how we feel about it. I don't even, we're beyond disgusted. So for those of you that don't know what's going on, good, you're lucky. For those of you that do, that's what I have to say about it. Who's got the first question?
So, right there, Dana White, in his role now, he is definitely more media trained than he obviously was in the early days of the UFC. We love Dana, man. He said some of the funniest shit over the years. But, like, this is the response I predicted for this because, again, it's not just Dana White at the top now. It's not just the Fertitas. It's not just Hunter. It's ESPN, who they're trying to re-sign a deal with. Like I said, it's any other broadcast company that they are looking at signing a deal with potentially. To have this right now, I don't think they can go to Bryce Mitchell for a fight, especially for a main event of a fight night, anytime soon. There's no way that would go over well with the media, and they're probably scared to put him on a press conference now. Like the flat Earth thing, okay, I think flat Earth is stupid, but it's a harmless theory. But like when you're talking about a topic as sensitive as this one, and I hate it because in the media, everything is compared to it. Whether you're right or left, you'll be called one of these people, even though everybody, by everybody, I mean 99% of people, anybody who is a genuine, logical person knows that 1930s Germany was awful, that what happened was horrible. Now, you can say what you want about who runs the world, about what they did before, what they did after. You still cannot go out on media and say this stuff without getting backlash, without starting controversy. And the old expression, all publicity is good publicity. It can be, but I mean, dude, Bryce Mitchell, he has star potential, but he's a middle of the pack guy. He's not guaranteed a spot. He's not somebody the UFC relies on. So I expect him to have a difficult fight. I expect them to put him up against, either like one of the best up and comers at featherweight, or somebody who is a complete animal at featherweight that they know will run through him. And Dana White said in the press conference, if you don't like him, watch his next fight. Maybe he gets knocked out. That's a way you can promote it, boy. Dude, this was a nuke to Bryce Mitchell's career. And I like Bryce Mitchell. I think he's an entertaining fighter. I think he's an entertaining guy. But I think that this was, you know, a career. I can't say that, but I think this was a career nuke. That's a word we'll use. You know, he's gonna be all over every single news outlet for probably another week. Now, obviously, eventually it'll die down. I don't know how many people will forget. Well, like, dude, you can't do this and expect this to work well in your career. But this video was running pretty long. Let me know what you thought about this current situation with Bryce Mitchell. Do you think that he will receive repercussions after it? Or do you think that Dana White will, work him against uh, whoever, and he'll have respect and he'll move on? Let me know in the comments down below. Go watch the full podcast and the full clip to fully get what he said and make your own opinion on it. That's the most important thing. Other than that, that's all I got. Later.